Hello and welcome to Capacity TV. Today we welcome back Michael Wheeler, Executive Vice President of IP Global Network at NTT America. Welcome, Michael. Which countries have been early adopters of technologies that are helping to pioneer the future of internet services?
For the last couple of years, I would probably point to Korea and Japan. The biggest thing being their last mile deployments of fiber to the home. Those have made a huge difference for the end user in the ability to use a high level of speed. So 100 megabits or possibly more in those locations to every household in that building. That's a huge difference from almost anywhere else in the world. In the US, you might have FiOS and it could be 20 to 50 megs, but nowhere near the 100 meg level. So those two countries in general terms have been leaders in that. And that's really allowed for a different level of use from their end users. It also creates a big challenge for those of us who are trying to provide capacity to those end users and make sure we have enough interconnectedness between those countries and the rest of the world. So it certainly has its challenges, but overall it's a very positive thing that they've done.
How has the high penetration of fiber to the home helped support these marketplaces?
Because you get such a large level of penetration of users, the demand for applications, the demand for what customers and particularly consumer end users are wanting to do with that connectivity really elevates the requirements that they have from a performance perspective, as well as a kind of a reachability perspective. They can use applications in a very different way than someone who's on a lower speed DSL or maybe 5 or 10 meg connection, because the experience is so much different. So the technology level has enabled those users to have a different utilization kind of model around the technology that they have and around the use of the internet in a way that most other markets don't have at this point. So that's a huge difference and again creates a challenge, but certainly a great opportunity as well.
Which particular applications are helping to drive this trend?
One of the biggest ones is online gaming. Korea as a country is the leading gaming country in the world. Everything from interactive games to casual gaming. The companies that are developing those games really focus on Korea and Japan as places where they look to see where the demand is driving that interactivity component in particular. So gaming is particularly one. Certainly other ones like social media and other things, but you can upload your Facebook update on a very slow connection and it doesn't take that much longer. But the interactivity components on the gaming side are really critical to that end user experience, and that's probably the application I would point to as the biggest driver of utilizing that technology.
Outside of Asia, which other regions are using innovative technologies to enhance their marketplace?
Probably the leading market I would point to is Latin America. There are a few different examples, but one of the ones that has been in place for a while is in Colombia. The last mile challenge that a lot of the operators have there is kind of twofold. The geography is such that it can be a real challenge to deploy infrastructure into the ground, and the potential risk of that infrastructure being kind of sabotaged is also very high. So a lot of the carriers in Colombia in particular are using WiMAX as a last mile technology. So it doesn't offer the speeds that a fiber to the home kind of implementation would offer, but it offers something much better than typical mobile or cellular in the traditional sense. And so WiMAX and other wireless options really provide a good solution. So Colombia's used that. There's some of that in Chile as well. And it really comes down to the demand of the marketplace driving what that next technology is. But I would certainly point to Latin America as a whole is certainly doing that, but those are some specific examples.
Which do you believe will be the next generation of countries to follow these examples?
So I would stick again with Latin America. I think Brazil is really being again pulled by their marketplace to deploy new technologies. A good example is GVT, Global Village Telecom in Brazil, has had some fiber to the home deployments already in the last 12 months that have been very successful on a small scale, certainly not the scale of a Korea or a Japan. But for them as a provider, they've come up with that solution. And that's not ubiquitous in the country of Brazil, but I would really probably point more to specific providers coming up with these kinds of solutions. And they're a great example of that. Brazil's still very much an emerging market, and to have any actual utilization or deployment of fiber to the home, in my mind, is revolutionary in a sense. So I think that those marketplaces are going to capitalize on those opportunities and that next generation technology. I think you'll see it also probably in countries like Ecuador and Peru as well, because they have some similar challenges that Brazil and Colombia have, from a geographic as well as a kind of infrastructure in the ground point of view.
Thank you, Michael.
No problem. Thank you.